We all have moments in life when we reach the edge of our own strength, when our hands are trembling from holding on too long, and our hearts are weary from fighting battles we never saw coming. It's in those moments we whisper, "I can't do this anymore." And that's exactly when God leans in and says, "I never asked you to do it alone." You see, your limits were never meant to destroy you. They were designed to direct you, to remind you that there is a power greater than yours, a wisdom deeper than your understanding, and a plan unfolding beyond your control. Your limits don't mark your failure. They mark the point where human effort ends and divine intervention begins. Think about it. When a seed is buried in darkness, it cannot grow until it surrenders to the soil. The same is true for you. When life buries you under weight and pressure, it's not the end, it's the beginning of something new. That pressure is preparing you for purpose. You might not see it now, but God is using every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every setback to redirect you toward the path He prepared for you long before you ever got lost. What feels like a dead end is often divine redirection. Sometimes God allows our strength to fail so that we'll finally lean on His. We live in a world that teaches us to be self-made, to fix everything, to never show weakness. But faith doesn't grow in perfection, it grows in surrender. You may not be able to fix the problem, but maybe you were never meant to. Maybe the real lesson is learning to trust the one who can. Every time you reach your breaking point, it's a signal, a whisper from heaven reminding you that the story is bigger than you. You're not stuck, you're being positioned, you're not abandoned, you're being refined. The truth is, God's strength often hides behind your weakness. The moment you stop trying to carry the whole world on your shoulders is the moment you realize His hands have been holding you the entire time. You're not supposed to have all the answers because your limits create space for God's miracles. You can't experience divine power until you've reached the end of your own. It's in the sleepless nights, the silent tears, and the moments of exhaustion that God whispers, "Now watch what I can do." When everything in you screams that it's over, that's when heaven begins to move. You may think your limb, it is your wall, but to God, it's the doorway to something greater. When you can't climb higher, He becomes your lift. When you can't see the way forward, He becomes your light. When your strength runs out, His takes over. And that's where transformation happens. So don't curse your limits. Thank God for them, because it's your limit that reveals His limitless power. It's your weakness that reveals His grace, and it's your surrender that releases His plan. Remember, diamonds are formed under pressure, and wings are built in resistance. Every limitation you face is molding you into someone stronger, wiser, and more faithful than before. You may not understand why things aren't working the way you hoped, but trust that they are working the way they must. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. God knows exactly what He's doing. So when you hit your limit and you can't fix it, don't give up. Lift your eyes, take a breath, and whisper, "God, I trust you." Because where your strength ends, His begins, and His plan is always greater than anything you could imagine. We live in a world that glorifies instant results. We want everything now, answers, success, healing, and breakthroughs. But God's timing doesn't move by our clocks. It moves by His perfect wisdom. When you've prayed, waited, and tried everything, and still nothing changes, it's easy to think God has forgotten you. But delay does not mean denial. The waiting season isn't punishment, it's preparation. God delays because He's aligning things that you can't see yet. While you're wondering why it's taking so long, He's making sure the foundation of your blessing is strong enough to last a lifetime. If He gave you everything you asked for right now, it might collapse under the weight of your unpreparedness. That's why the wait is sacred. It's not a gap in your life. It's a gathering of strength, faith, and purpose. Think about a seed. When you plant it in the soil, it disappears from sight. Days, weeks, even months may pass without any sign of life. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. The seed is breaking apart, transforming, and taking root. If you dug it up too soon, you'd destroy the process that gives it life. The same happens with God's plan for you. You can't see what's happening beneath the surface, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. The delay is the development stage, the moment God shapes your character to match your calling. He's not withholding your blessing, He's building you for it. Every not yet from God carries a deeper purpose. Sometimes He delays to protect you from something that would hurt you. Sometimes He delays to grow your faith. And sometimes He delays because He wants your miracle to make sense in His timing, not yours. When you rush ahead of God, you settle for less than what He intended. When you wait on Him, you receive something far beyond what you imagined. The beauty of faith is trusting that the delay is not the end. It's just the middle of the story. Think back to times you wanted something desperately, a job, a relationship, a dream, and it didn't work out. Maybe you cried, maybe you questioned God, maybe you felt lost. But now, looking back, you realize that what you thought was rejection was actually redirection. That closed door didn't destroy you, it saved you. God's no was His way of saying, I have something better. He never delays without reason. Every moment of waiting is a divine investment in your destiny. The longer the wait, the greater the reward. The problem is, we often confuse silence with absence. Just because God is quiet doesn't mean He's not working. In fact, some of His greatest moves happen in silence. While you're doubting, He's designing. While you're worrying, He's weaving together the details. The waiting room is not wasted time. It's sacred ground where faith is tested, trust is built, and strength is born. It's where you learn that faith isn't about having everything you want. It's about believing that God's plan is better than your own. When God delays, don't lose hope. Instead, shift your perspective. Maybe He's keeping you in the waiting so He can prepare the people, places, and opportunities that will align perfectly with your purpose. Maybe He's working on hearts, yours included. Maybe He's teaching you to rely on Him fully, so when the breakthrough comes, you'll know exactly who deserves the glory. The delay is a divine pause, not a permanent stop. It's the space where miracles are quietly formed. So if you find yourself waiting right now, don't give up. Keep praying, keep believing, keep moving forward with faith. The delay isn't a denial. It's God whispering, I'm not finished yet. The very thing you think is being held back is being perfectly arranged. One day, when everything finally falls into place, you'll understand why it had to take so long. You'll realize that the delay wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to build you. God is never late. He's always on time. Trust His timing, because when He finally delivers, it won't just be what you asked for. It will be far more than you ever imagined. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers. It's raw, it's real, and it strips away everything superficial until all that's left is truth. When pain enters your life, it doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to shape you. It carves depth into your soul, builds compassion into your heart, and molds strength into your spirit. Every tear you've cried, every night you've spent wondering why, is not wasted. It's part of a divine design that's preparing you for something greater than you can see. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God's way of building endurance, humility, and wisdom within you. Sometimes the things that hurt the most are the very things that shape you into who you are meant to become. You see, growth rarely happens in comfort. Comfort may keep you safe, but it will never make you strong. Pain, however, forces transformation. It teaches you patience when nothing seems to change. It teaches you faith when nothing makes sense. And it teaches you courage when fear tries to paralyze you. God uses pain as a refining fire, not to burn you, but to purify you. Just as gold must pass through the furnace to reveal its shine, you must pass through the heat of hardship to reveal your true strength. Every trial you endure is forging resilience within you. You may not realize it now, but the pain you're facing is preparing you to carry a blessing that requires the strength you're building today. Think about it. Without pain, you'd never learn the power of healing. Without loss, you'd never understand the value of gratitude. Without struggle, you'd never experience the beauty of overcoming. The wounds you carry today may one day become the very stories that heal someone else. God doesn't waste pain. He turns it into purpose. The heartbreak that left you shattered may become the foundation of your greatest testimony. The disappointment that broke your spirit may be the doorway to your destiny. Every scar, every tear, every moment of suffering is God's way of reminding you that your story isn't over, it's still being written. There will be times when you'll want to give up, when the weight feels unbearable. But in those moments, remember this: the deeper the pain, the stronger the purpose. God never allows suffering without reason. When you're walking through pain, it's easy to believe that He's far away, but in truth, He's closer than ever. The same God who allows the storm also holds you through it. He's not trying to hurt you, He's trying to heal you from the inside out. Pain is His way of stripping away everything that isn't meant for you, everything that distracts you from your true path. Sometimes you have to lose what you think you need to find what you truly deserve. It's through pain that empathy is born. When you've walked through darkness, you learn how to be a light for others. When you've been broken, you understand how to comfort the broken. The world needs people who have been through pain because they are the ones who know how to lift others out of it. Your pain gives your purpose power, it gives your words meaning and your actions depth. Don't hide your scars. They are proof that you survived, that you overcame, that you are still standing. So when you face pain, don't curse it, don't run from it. Embrace it as a tool for transformation. Let it teach you, let it shape you, let it strengthen your faith in ways comfort never could. The most beautiful souls are those who have walked through fire and refused to let it consume them. They emerged wiser, stronger, and filled with unshakable faith. Remember this: pain is temporary, but the strength it builds lasts forever. One day, you'll look back and realize that what once broke you actually built you. You'll see that God used your pain as the very bridge to your purpose. So keep moving forward, keep trusting through the tears, because every ounce of pain you feel today is the foundation of the strength you'll stand on tomorrow. Faith is the courage to keep walking when you can't see the road ahead. It's believing that there's light waiting for you even when everything around you feels like darkness. Faith isn't easy. It's not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. It's about standing firm when everything in your world seems to be falling apart and whispering, "God, I trust you." Even when your heart is breaking, faith is acting without proof, moving without sight, and believing without evidence. It's choosing to walk when fear tells you to stop and choosing hope when your mind screams that it's over. Faith isn't just a feeling. It's a decision to believe that God's plan is working, even when it looks like everything is falling apart. Faith means choosing to trust God's hand even when you can't trace it. You won't always see His plan unfolding, and sometimes it will look like nothing is changing at all. But behind the scenes, heaven is working. God is aligning people, moments, and opportunities in ways you can't imagine. He's writing a story that requires you to walk by faith, not by sight. If you could see every detail, faith wouldn't be necessary. Faith is trusting that the delay, the detour, the disappointment, it's all leading you somewhere better. Every unanswered prayer, every moment of waiting, every struggle is a test of whether you'll trust what you feel or what you know. And what you know is this: God never fails. When life shakes your foundation, faith reminds you that you're standing on something unshakable. It doesn't mean the storm won't come. It means you'll stand firm through it. Faith is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing to believe that God's reality is greater than your pain. It's about knowing that the same God who opened the Red Sea, who moved mountains, who raised the dead is still moving, still working, still faithful. Even when you can't see the way, He's already gone ahead of you to prepare it. You don't have to understand the path to trust the guide. Faith also requires surrender. You can't walk by faith while still clinging to control. Sometimes you have to step into the unknown to walk on water while the storm rages around you. That's where faith grows, when logic fails, when sight disappears, when all you have left is belief. Faith is saying, even if I don't see it, I'll keep walking. Even if I don't feel it, I'll keep believing. The beauty of faith is that it doesn't need proof to move, it only needs trust. And when you choose trust over fear, miracles begin to unfold. God responds to faith, not perfection, not performance, but faith. The truth is, faith doesn't make life easier, it makes you stronger. It gives you the courage to face what others run from, to keep going when everything in you wants to quit. Faith doesn't remove the mountain. It gives you the strength to climb it. Every time you step forward in faith, you're telling the world that your hope is bigger than your fear. And every time you trust God in the dark, you're proving that light always wins. Faith isn't blind. It sees what the eyes cannot. It sees the hand of God moving in the unseen, working through the pain, orchestrating something beautiful out of the broken pieces. One day, everything you believed for will make sense. You'll look back and realize that every moment of faith, every tear you cried, every time you chose trust over fear, it all led you right where you were meant to be. Faith was the bridge that carried you from despair to destiny. So don't let your faith waver just because you can't see what's next. Keep walking, keep believing, keep trusting, because faith doesn't need proof, it produces it. And when you hold on to faith, even in the storm, you give God the space to turn your greatest trials into your greatest triumphs. Faith is the heartbeat of miracles, the language of heaven, and the anchor that keeps your soul steady when the waves rise high. So walk by faith, not by sight, and remember, even when you can't see what God is doing, He's always doing something extraordinary. Letting go is one of the hardest things a person can do, yet it's one of the most powerful acts of faith you'll ever make. We hold on so tightly to people, to plans, to pain, thinking that if we just try harder, we can make things right. But sometimes, God's greatest miracles begin when you finally release your grip. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making space for God to move. It means admitting that you've done all you can, and now it's time to trust Him with what you can't control. When you finally say, God, I can't fix this, that's when He whispers, now I can. Because as long as you're trying to carry the weight alone, He can't take it from you. Let go, and let God step in. We're taught to fight for what we want, to never quit, to push harder, but there's a difference between fighting in faith and clinging in fear. When you hold on out of fear, fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of the unknown, you're not protecting yourself, you're preventing your breakthrough. Sometimes you have to let go of what's breaking you to make room for what's meant to bless you. God can't fill your hands with something new if they're still gripping the past. The pain of letting go is temporary, but the peace that follows is eternal. When you surrender, you're not losing control. You're placing control in the hands of the one who never fails. Letting go also means trusting that God knows what He's doing, even when it doesn't make sense. It's understanding that His ways are higher, His vision is clearer, and His timing is perfect. You might not understand why the relationship ended, why the dream crumbled, or why the door closed, but you can rest knowing that every ending in God's plan is the beginning of something better. What you see as loss, He sees as protection. What you call failure, He calls redirection. Sometimes God removes what's comfortable because He knows it will limit your growth. You're not being abandoned, you're being positioned for something greater. There is power in surrender. It doesn't make you weak, It makes you wise. When you stop trying to control every detail, you allow God to reveal His strength through your stillness. He's not asking you to quit. He's asking you to trust. Letting go means believing that He's already gone ahead of you, preparing the next chapter of your story. It means having the courage to walk away from what no longer serves your purpose, even if your heart still wants to hold on. Because the truth is, you can't step into your future while clinging to your past. You can't receive what's new if your arms are full of what's old. Think about how the butterfly emerges from the cocoon. It has to let go of the comfort of confinement to experience the freedom of flight. In the same way, you have to release what's safe to step into what's sacred. God doesn't take things away to hurt you. He removes them to make room for what's meant for you. Every release is a rebirth. Every surrender is a step closer to your destiny. And the moment you let go, you'll feel something shift inside you, peace. The kind of peace that doesn't come from understanding, but from trusting. The kind that tells you, even though I don't know what's next, I know who holds it. So if you've done all you can and things still aren't working, stop trying to force what's not meant to be fixed. Let go. Stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Hand them to God. He knows exactly what to do with them. He's not asking for perfection. He's asking for trust. The situation you can't control is the one He's already written an answer for. You just have to release it long enough for Him to reveal it. Letting go doesn't end your story. It allows God to write the part you couldn't. So unclench your fists. Lift your hands and say, Lord, I surrender. Because the moment you let go is the moment everything begins to change. That's when peace enters, doors open, and purpose unfolds. When you let go and let God, you don't lose. You win something far greater: freedom, healing, and divine direction for the life He always planned for you. God's plan is always greater than your own, even when it doesn't feel like it. Life has a way of breaking your plans to make room for something better, something divine, something you could never have written yourself. You might not see it now, but every twist, every delay, every disappointment is part of a story that's being carefully crafted by the one who knows the end from the beginning. What you see as chaos, God sees as construction. What you call a setback, He calls setup. His plan is not always easy, but it's always perfect. Every chapter of your life, even the painful ones, has purpose woven through it. One day you'll look back and realize that everything that didn't work out actually worked out for your good. Sometimes we become frustrated because we can't understand why things happen the way they do. We cry, we question, we wonder why God would allow certain storms into our lives. But the truth is, He sees what we cannot. You're looking at one puzzle piece while He sees the whole picture. You see the detour, but He sees the destination. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every unexpected turn is not rejection. It's redirection. God knows exactly where you need to be, and sometimes He has to shake things up to get you there. His plan doesn't always align with your timeline, but it always aligns with your best interest. When you're in the middle of pain, it's easy to think God has forgotten you. But that's when He's often the closest. The silence of God is not absence, it's strategy. He's not ignoring you. He's preparing something greater than what you're asking for. You might think the delay is a punishment, but it's protection. You might think the loss is failure, but it's formation. God's plan is always working, even in the waiting, even in the heartbreak, even in the confusion. The same God who allowed the storm will use it to reveal His power in your life. What the enemy meant for harm, God will turn into healing. What broke you will become the very thing that builds you. You see, God's plan doesn't just bless you, it transforms you. It takes your weakest moments and turns them into testimonies of strength. It takes your tears and turns them into wisdom. It takes your scars and turns them into stories that inspire others. You are not where you are by accident. Every place you've been, every person you've lost, Every challenge you've faced has been shaping you into the person God needs you to be for the purpose He's calling you to fulfill. You might think you're lost, but in God's plan, you're right on schedule. The beauty of trusting God's plan is realizing that even when life feels like it's falling apart, it's actually falling into place. The pain you feel today is often the preparation for the promise you'll hold tomorrow. You can't see the whole path, but that's where faith comes in. You don't need to know the how when you know the who. God's plan is not for you to understand every detail, it's for you to trust every step. The hardest roads often lead to the most beautiful destinations, and the battles you're fighting today will become the victories that shape your future. So stop trying to figure everything out. Stop replaying the whys and what ifs. Rest in the truth that God's plan is greater, wiser, and kinder than your own. He's writing a story that you'll one day be proud to tell, a story of resilience, redemption, and divine purpose. You may not see the full picture right now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the detours were directions, the delays were development, and the disappointments were divine interventions. God never wastes a moment. Every chapter has meaning, every season has value, and every setback carries a hidden blessing. So trust Him, even when it hurts, even when it's unclear, even when you feel like nothing makes sense. Because behind the confusion is a Creator who knows exactly what He's doing. His plan will always be greater than your pain. His timing will always be better than your expectation. And His purpose will always be worth the wait. Hold on to faith, because when you finally see what He's been preparing for you, you'll understand that everything had to happen exactly the way it did to bring you to the place you were always meant to be. God's plan is not just good, it's perfect. And when it unfolds, you'll see that it was worth every tear, every delay, and every moment of trust.